Hello, this is Robin Walter from Tech.eu, and I'm joined here remotely, of course, as usual, by Franck Lebouchard. He's the CEO of a company called Devialet, which is a French audio engineering company, or an acoustical engineering company, as they call themselves. Frank, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. What do you ask when people ask you, what is Devialet?
Well, first of all, hi, Robin. Devialet, very simple. Devialet is all about audio. Devialet is really on a mission to elevate sound in people's life. So wherever you listen to something, radio, music, podcast, you name them, we want we want pure sound. We want the best possible sound in all moments of your life.
Yeah, there's many ways to get sound, and you cover a lot of them already. You make speakers, as you can see the back in the background of your video. There's the Phantom speaker line. There's the amplifiers. There's wireless earbuds. Now also a soundbar. What is sort of the origin of the company? Because you've been around from 2007. I'm guessing all of these products weren't born all at once. So what was the initial focus of the company when it was started?
The initial focus, which really drove the whole company, is still driving the company, is two men meeting, Pierre-Emmanuel Calmel and Emmanuel Nardin, the two founders. One is an engineer and the other one is a designer. And that's very important to Devialet. Pierre-Emmanuel, as an engineer, invented a technology which is an amplifying technology, which gave birth to our very first product. At the time, it was an amplifier, Expert. And having a designer on board as a founder also led to launching Devialet products, which, as you can see in my background, are very different. Usually speakers would be black and square to make things simple. The first Phantom speaker still is a co-sphere and was launched in white. So it's really a combination of deep technology and design, and it's still the case. As I'm speaking, 1/3 of all our employees are engineers dedicated to improving audio technologies.
Yeah, very engineering driven. I read that. Also quite a lot of patented technologies within the company, which is always a good position to be in. As I mentioned, the company has been around from 2007. You only joined about 4.5 years ago as a CEO. What led to that decision? Because I know you were a CEO of a number of companies before that. What drew you to Devialet?
What drew me was, I was fascinated by the products. Anyone listening, actually seeing Phantom and listening to Phantom, sort of rediscovers music and understands how important it is to have hi-fi quality in a simple device. The reason Devialet hired me was at that stage 4 years ago. Devialet was really at a turning point, moving from a startup to, let's call it, a scale up. So Devialet was growing fast. It's still growing fast. And at the time being, the board members of Devialet felt that given the pace and the change of scale, they needed a gray-haired CEO, to put it this way.
An adult in the room, as they say. But how's that turned out for you so far? Like, how the last 4.5 years been?
It's been an amazing, exciting, and complicated experience. Amazing and exciting because basically people at Devialet are completely passionate about sound, about technology, about design. Passionate also about being a global company. We sell in 70 countries now. We do 40% of our turnover in Asia. So there's a lot of passion. It's also been a complicated journey. We have faced a number of crises. We all know when COVID came, we had to shut down all our stores all over the world. Um, then we were super strong in Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong, the situation went bad. Then we faced the crisis of electronic components. In a Phantom in our speakers, you will find 1,400 electronic components. Um, any of those out of stock, and we stop producing. So it's been a it's been a challenge, and it's been great. We've kept our growth momentum, something like 25 to 30% a year. We've also, in a way, been helped, and I'm trying to choose my words, by the COVID situation, because people have been stuck at home. We've all been confined at home. And we've all rediscovered how great it was to have a superb TV screen and a great audio system. So, in a sense, despite all those crises, we've been able to keep growing.
Yeah, challenging times, but could have been worse, I guess. But yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, the supply chain got disrupted because of COVID. Retail had to close. Almost half of your tenure as a CEO was COVID times. Now we're slowly sort of getting out of it. I dare not say completely out of it because too many COVID cases still around me. But how do you sort of look at the next 2-3 years as CEO of the company?
Well, as a CEO, I'm optimistic by nature. So I tend to believe that, having faced COVID, inflation, semiconductors crisis, now war in Europe, I believe that the worst is behind us, which I guess is sort of being optimistic. But anyway, our products are great. Again, we are a global company. People at Devialet are super young. Average age at Devialet is barely 30. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of passion again. So yeah, I truly believe our future is brilliant.
Great. Well, let's talk a bit more about the products. They look absolutely amazing. I don't think anyone can really question that. The design is absolutely stunning. I had the pleasure of actually testing the Phantom speakers. I think it was the first range at the South by Southwest Festival a number of years ago in a hotel room. Absolutely blew me away. So they not only do they look stunning, they also sound absolutely amazing. They're a bit out of my price range, I have to say. So it's not for everyone, I would say. It's more of a luxury, high-end audio product. Do you agree with that assessment?
On your last point, it depends to what you compare our products. Yeah, I'm not going to argue whether the price points are high or low. Obviously, we are on the high end of the market. But if you compare our sound quality with a hi-fi sound system with an amplifier, cables, and speakers, and so on and so forth, we are at that exact price range. So, anyone who wants great quality audio will want to put that kind of price. But because we absolutely are passionate about many people having great sound in their daily lives. We also have a second business, which is the licensing business. So basically, what we do is that we provide our technologies and brand to third-party players, to big companies, basically, for them to improve their own products. The first one was in the UK with Sky, doing a TV soundbar with them. We did it in the US with Belkin. We do it in Asia with Tencent or Huawei, or in France with Free. So we are, because we're so passionate, we provide those technologies to millions of households through this licensing activity.
Yeah. So that makes the technology that you've developed over the many years, go more downstream, a bit more mass market. But it also gives you less control, sort of, as over the end design of the products. I would say. So is that
I hope so. um, well, of course, when it comes to design, those products I've been talking about are not in our control. So typically, Sky or Belkin or Free design their own product. What we certify in a way is that whatever the design, the sound system, from hardware to signal processing to tuning, the sound is as perfect as it can be. And when you think about it, there are a number of products which Devialet will never make. We don't have plans to do to manufacture televisions or cars or planes. Last week we announced in Hamburg a partnership with Safran for business class seats. We'll never do aircraft seats yet. In all those categories, television, for example, we provide our technologies and we bring great sound to many people.
Yeah, that's also a mission of some really, really big technology companies in the world. I think if you look at your competition, there's really, it really stands out like how many of the big tech companies are sort of involved in this space. So you do compete with a lot of incumbents who have sort of monopolized the industry for generations, I would say. How do you deal with that? How do you approach that?
I believe we are very specific. I believe that no other company has this combination of true technology with hundreds of patents, incredible design, um, and a brand which is global, which is modern, which is very young. And this combination, branding, high-end design, technology is pretty unique. In the audio world, you may find super audiophile brands, which are not truly global, but they appeal to super audiophile people. You will find design products. You will find great brands. That combination of ours, I think, is incredibly unique. And the best proof of that is our growth, our success, and our clients. Who usually companies talk about clients. I believe we have a couple of fans out there with great names. Jay-Z is one of our shareholders. Elon Musk tweeted that that our products were great. President Macron has a Phantom in his office at Élysée. We have great fans.
Yeah, you absolutely do, especially in the professional audio and audiophiles world, I would say. You talked about growth. Can you maybe put some numbers to that as well? I think you mentioned 30-40% a year growth. Your operation is 70 countries. What other hard numbers can you share with us today?
One figure we look at very much actually is our footprint globally. I mentioned that we were sold in 70 countries. What we look at is the number of stores where you can find our products, physical stores, and not only digital stores. We tend to look at that because it's for us, it's a good indicator of our global deployment. Right now, we are sold in 2,000 stores, physical and digital. Our aim is to double that figure. There are still a number of countries where we are small. Typically looking at India, we are only starting business in India, and there are obviously tens of millions of people in India who could be appealed by our products. So that's that kind of KPI we look at. We also look at the number of households with one of our products, or at least one of our products, or our technology through licensing. And we are now well over 2 million. So it's sort of we're sort of happy about that. Knowing that more than 2 million households have the Devialet technology and have access to great sound.
Yeah, can imagine that. It sounds like a great start. Still a lot more to come. As you mentioned, lots of opportunities for growth still, I would argue. At the same time, you look at the last time you guys raised funding, I think you raised $150 million total. I think the last round was still even before your time, 2016, if I'm not mistaken. which is quite rare, especially because we were in such a time of prosperity, I would say, especially in the European tech world. Lots of funding being thrown at companies, scale ups especially. Was there a particular reason that Devialet hasn't raised any funding since the last round?
If I may correct you, and that's my fault.
My
No,
apologies.
no, don't worry. We raised 100 million euros in 2016, and that was, at that time, 100 million euros for a French startup was a lot of money. Since then, we have raised twice around 60 million euros, I believe, but that was with our current shareholders. So we did not really go public on that one. It was really our shareholders keeping investing in our growth. So we have raised twice during the last 4 years, but we did it very quietly. Again, with our current shareholders who really believe that that we are super successful. They know that, and they want us to continue.
Great. Let's go back to maybe the supply chain issues that you had because of COVID. The situation on that front isn't getting any better, I would say, also because it's geopolitical and the market turmoil. Do you have any? Because you mentioned that more than 1,400 electronic components going into your products. Are you having any issues sourcing them, getting them, distributing them, implementing them?
I want to believe that the worst of this crisis is behind us. Um, I want to believe, but there are less and less components now out of stock. So I think we are getting out of that one. We last year was the worst. We at Devialet have never been out of stock for our products. The reason for that is um, we design our products ourselves. But when I say we design everything. So typically we have a team here in Paris doing electronics. So whenever there's a component which is announced to be out of stock, our team is able to change, to find an alternative, to change the software. So we've always been, we've been very agile, and the reason we've been able to do so is because we design everything basically. So this has been a lot of stress last year. I think we are over. You can hear how cautious I am now, but I think it's getting way better now.
Yeah. And what about the general market? Are people still buying as much? Because obviously you're sort of a high-end luxury product, but less and less so, as you mentioned yourself. But at the same time, like inflation is hitting, people are spending less, people are being very careful about their spending. Do you already feel the effect of that as well?
We globally we don't feel it. What we feel is in some countries, but I believe it's still linked to COVID. So typically, in China, April, May have been difficult with confinements in Shanghai and in other cities. This we do feel. Um, Globally, I would not say that, especially as there is a deep trend in audio towards hi-fi and quality. This was really triggered last year by streaming companies going what they call lossless. So streaming companies moving to hi-fi. And hi-fi or great quality only makes sense if you have equipment, a speaker which can play hi-fi, which is obviously our case, and which has been our case since day one. So there is this trend. There is people are more and more understanding that great sound does make your life better. When you listen to your music, you can hear the difference. You mentioned that. Um, so there is this trend, which is very much favoring us, and it's a deep one. It's a trend which is here for a long time now. It's going to be a long-lasting one.
Great. What about future trends? What can we expect from Devialet of new products or new services?
As you may expect, I'm going to keep that kind of surprise for later. But Look at the look at your life. Take a day. You listen to music, sound, or podcast over a number of devices. Again, some, in your car, you will never manufacture a car. But if you look at that, there are a number of audio categories where we would be legitimate and where we are not yet with our Devialet product. Obviously, our product roadmap is meant to address all those audio categories where we do have technology and where we believe we can change the game. The thing is, we only launch a Devialet product if it's absolutely perfect in terms of audio, in terms of sound quality, and if it's different in terms of design. That's why it took us 3 years of hard work to launch our television soundbar. If you take a look at it, the name is Dione. In terms of design, it's really different from anything and we have literally stuffed 17 speakers inside our soundbar. Up to now, the supposedly best soundbar had 12 only. We've put 17 of those to have perfect sound. So it's always a challenge. It takes time, but we're deploying this roadmap.
Yep. I mean, the soundbar looks absolutely amazing. I've read some raving reviews, so I can't wait to try it myself. Anything else that you would like to share about future plans, like number of employees that you want to sort of attain, number of markets that you sort of want to be operational in a year or so? Anything else you want to share about those plans?
Let me pick on that one to send a message. Probably our biggest challenge is to recruit brilliant people. We are in the middle of a war for talent, and we were talking about electronic component scarcity. For me, the real challenge is to keep recruiting brilliant people, brilliant engineers, marketing, salespeople. I guess to your point, to anyone listening to me, if you know those young people, 25, 30 years old, 35, willing to join our adventure, we keep hiring, and I hope we can keep hiring brilliant people.
There you go. Devialet very actively engaging in the war for talent in France and beyond.
Definitely.
Frank, thank you so much for your time. It was really interesting to learn more about Devialet, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much, Robin, and take care.